After you get your leather drawn in the shape of the pouch you want to neaten up the ends so that when you lay them together to sew, you don't have anything missing or anything sticking out. Just makes it easier if both sides match up. So you want to do final trimming. And try to get them as even as possible. You want to make sure you have a sharp pair of scissors to do this. They are leather scissors, so you want to have them look as matched as you can, okay? Because once you sew them together, you don't want your pouch to end up being lopsided. All right, you can sew two different ways when you're doing the pouch. You can do it so that the fuzzy side is out, the flesh side, or you can sew it so the finished pouch has the smooth side out, the grain side. Okay, we take a glover's needle, which is a very sharp needle. You have to be very careful. This will actually go through this skin, it'll go through your skin. Okay, so a glover's needle, strung with artificial sinew. Real sinew, it's basically animal tendon. This is what the real thing looks like. You basically pound it and spread these fibers apart, and that's what you would have used for sewing thread. So as you can see, the artificial sinew is actually not a bad mimic for it. Comes in a large single strand that you can split down 4 times, or up to 4 times. Most leather working places or craft shops carry some sort of artificial sinew. I usually use a thimble because otherwise you're going to push the back of this needle right through your finger. You line up the top of your leather like this, and you push the glover's needle through. Okay? Going through 2 pieces of leather can take a little bit of stress. I find if you're doing a lot of sewing, the pliers just make it so much easier and your hand doesn't get sore. You pull this, you tie a knot on the end. I like to heat seal my knots, just melt the thread a little bit, but if you just pull that knot over, tighten a knot and pull the thread over. This is a basic whip stitch. So you take the thread, come back to this other side, push it through, hold the thread over like that, and grab it, pull all the way through. You can actually trap down that little strip. Helps keep your knot in place. And all you do is just go around the bag doing the whip stitch. So your stitching should look like that all the way around the bag. Okay? The reason you want to keep the edges as even as you can is so that your pouch stays in the right shape. Okay? The other thing you need to be careful of is most commercial hides, like deer hide, tend to be very stretchy. So if you put a lot of tension on or pull in one direction, it'll pull the pouch out of shape as well. So that's why you try to keep the edges as even as you can. Okay. You just go around. So the last stitch, you want to have it pretty much so it's parallel to the first stitch, so that they look like they line up at about the same thing. It just makes, when you turn the pouch inside out, it makes the top stay even, okay? You pull this one through. You want to make sure this one is nice and tight. Line it up, torque it down. To knot it, I take the needle and I go around the thread like that, and I pull. Put my finger on, pull tight, and I do a second knot, okay? So it looks like that. Put your finger on, pull it tight. So the final knot should look something like that. Okay. Then we turn the pouch inside out. Best way is to get your fingers up inside, push your thumb down. The thicker the leather, the little bit longer this takes to do. The thinner the leather, the easier it is to move. This one is a fairly thick, a little bit of a thick hide, so it takes a little bit of maneuvering. Then I like to put my finger into the pouch and push out on the seams. Helps round out the pouch. This is another reason you want to make sure that your pouch is cut as even as possible. So when it's done, it looks fairly even.